means, but I just always had a preacher shaking this around and looking at everybody and saying, "This is the gospel." You know what I'm talking about, right? And so we had to break it down and define it. And these are 18 to 22-year-old guys, that had spent all their lives sitting in a pew or a chair going to church. So it's not just non-believers that need to hear this gospel. We've got to revisit it. So the gospel is this. I want to rephrase it a little bit. Again, this isn't changing the message, but I want to challenge your thinking. The gospel is this: belief in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus reinstates your relationship with the Most High, with Yahweh, the Heavenly Father. It resolves the debt from your past, present, and future sin, but the temptation is to stop there. And we got to be careful, because if we just end the gospel right there at fixing the punishment, if you stop there and view this simply as being a get-out-of-hell-free card, you will not experience the true life in abundance that it's offered in. Realize that what the gospel actually does is it brings you back into oneness with the Father as it was intended in the Garden of Eden. You look at Genesis 1 and 2, and before the fall in 3, there was no separation. They had this oneness about them to where they were dwelling with God. And here we see Jesus, the Son of God, step down and break that barrier of separation to where when you have faith in Him, it not only saves you from this punishment, but it reinstates that relationship to where, hey, you get to walk in freedom. And when you remind yourself of this, it reminds you of that freedom. And when you fall into the sin of forgetfulness, you return to shame, you return to guilt, and you return to bondage. It's these eggshells of man-made religion that says, hey, if I can just keep up my end of the deal and be good enough and better than that person, and just don't fall into these temptations, then I'm good. That's the difference between the religion and the gospel. Religion says, I messed up. I can't tell my dad. The gospel is saying, hey, it's 2 a.m. I messed up. I got to call my dad. You see the difference right there? There's that relationship. And it is only when you begin to expand your view on the beauty of God's grace that you start to live with an expanded source of joy that the world will take notice of. So you got to constantly remind yourself of the gospel's power. Don't diminish it. Don't assume it. In the same way, I can't assume that my wife knows my love for her. I got to show it by my words. Got to show it by my actions. I can't just assume and go weeks and weeks at a time and just say, you know I love you, right? That's not true love if I'm not demonstrating that. So go ask yourself, does Jesus know you love Him? Or are you merely just assuming that because I made that one decision at summer camp when I was 12, that nothing's changed since then?